What is going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of J Talks Hoops. I appreciate you guys stopping by and checking out the show. And it's all about talking about basketball. We react to different videos. Today, we're going to talk about Candace Parker's appearance on First Take, respond to some of the things she said about the WNBA. I love what she had to say, and talk about Caitlin Clark because we understand in their league today, they don't know how to market her. They're jealous of her success. It doesn't make any sense because it's a golden opportunity to help your league grow when you've heard the women in the WNBA complain for years about lack of revenue, lack of exposure. Now you have somebody available who can help catapult them to a new level. But we see pushback from the media. We see players who are upset with her for no reason whatsoever because Caitlin Clark has always given credit to the previous players and respect to them, but they don't give the same energy back. And it's just ridiculous. Fans have walked away, especially after that investigation, which was ridiculous. They found no evidence, and the WNBA is not in a great place right now. And the media will say what they want. Oh, look at the attendance and look at this, look at that. But if they end up losing money again, nothing really happened, and there's no change going on. Let's go ahead and see what Candace Parker had to say, and I'll give you some of my thoughts here.
When we look at the WNBA, whether we've speculated about resentment or whatever it is, ultimately it comes down to the fact that there were an abundance of women in the WNBA doing tremendous work on behalf of the WNBA and the game of basketball. And you just sense that folks were feeling an absence of appreciation for what they had done and what their collective contribution was to bring the WNBA to where it is now and where it evidently is going.
Here's the thing with that question. The players beforehand, Diana Taurasi, you can look at Cheryl Swoops, great players before. Nobody was really paying attention. Doesn't mean they don't deserve respect. The reality is viewership wasn't there. People did not care back then. When Caitlin Clark came on the scene, there's a backstory there. She played in Indiana. Indiana is a basketball world. So the fans, who have followed her journey since college, have seen her risen to the WNBA. So narratives matter. Your marketability matters. And Caitlin Clark happens to be the first woman who is drawing that attention. Doesn't mean people like Candace Parker, Cheryl Swoops, women like that don't deserve the respect. They just don't care. You can be upset about it. You can be in your feelings. And that's the thing about the WNBA. The players act entitled. Angel Reese was on a podcast, one of her podcasts, where she said, we better get paid. And I'm like, get paid what? You live off the NBA. If the NBA doesn't exist, the WNBA is not here either, and you're playing overseas or for another league. That's the reality. You rely on the NBA to cut your paychecks. And until that changes, you're not getting anything. Not to say you don't deserve it, but it's a business. And if your business isn't making profit, how do you expect to get any incentives? So when you're acting entitled, like, oh, I should get this right now, that's just not how it works.
Can you speak to that collective frustration that some may have been feeling and whether or not you think it's something that's being overcome as you all thrive and move forward and continue to promote and uplift this league?
It's so crazy to me because I'm asked so many times if I'm resentful in any type of way for where the WNBA is right now. My job was to leave the game better than I came into it. You think Cheryl Miller is resentful for me that I have?
That's how every player needs to be talking right now. Leaving the game in a better place. The problem is right now, the main talking points in the WNBA is about race and gender. And if those are your conversations and you're not keeping it about basketball, talking about the players that are in the league right now. Last year, when I started watching the WNBA, yes, I was watching Caitlin Clark at first because she caught my attention, but I got exposed to Sabrina Ionescu, Nafisa Collier, who I love. I love watching Nafisa Collier play. She is a fantastic basketball player. Stewie, Asia Wilson, and the New York Liberty basketball team. I mean, that team is stacked. Man, they're just really good at basketball. And of course, the Minnesota Lynx, they're 7-0 right now. I got exposed because Caitlin Clark came into the league. Think about Magic and Bird. They helped build the NBA back up. When Michael Jordan came along, the NBA took advantage of that opportunity. They changed the rules because of the fouling by the Pistons and the roughhouse. And the NBA realized, well, if we keep that up, some fans are just going to walk away. and they call it the Jordan rules, and it helped make the NBA a better product. So if the WNBA is going to take a lesson from history, maybe cater to Caitlin Clark so more people are going to tune in and watch, and you'll get a better reception out of people, and they'll stick around. But if you're tone deaf and you don't listen, well, this league is never going to grow.
Had a league to play in. No, she's being the mentor that she is, and she's supporting and loving and sitting courtside cheering on Juju Watkins. And I'm doing the same for Caitlin Clark and all the women in the WNBA. You know, I think that rivalry is super important. I think conversation is super important. You know, I tuned in when Kevin Durant went back and played Russell Westbrook, and they bumped shoulders and everybody was tuned in. But I want to keep it within the lines of the game. And I think that's what's the most important. Now everybody has a Twitter finger.
And shout out to Candace Parker, man. She's spitting facts here. Keep it about basketball. Talk about the brilliance of Caitlin Clark, how she can handle the rock, shoot from three, play in transition, play make. There's so many electrifying things about her game. Talk about Collier, how she can be a versatile defender, how she can put the ball on the floor, how the Lynx are a fun basketball team. Talk about the New York Liberty with Sabrina Ionescu. She is electrifying to watch, and so on and so forth. There are other things that you can talk about to help uplift your league. But when you're so fixated on two talking points where fan bases have been walking away from that and they don't watch it, but you keep bringing it up. And then on Twitter, where you are so upset by fans, and now I'm not saying there are fans out there who don't cross the line, because they are. There's some people out there that take it too far. But when you're constantly mentioning it to media members and you're bothered by it, the NBA players, they have to deal with it, but they just go out and hoop. They don't always make a big deal about it because they recognize it's just the internet and you got to just maneuver around through it. And when you're sharing posts about it or, mention it in third person, whatever it may be, that doesn't help your brand. And fans don't want to see that. They're here to get away from all that, all the politics and the noise, and escape from reality. Like, sports players are entertainers and they get paid very well because they worked hard for it. But at the end of the day, you still got to make sure you market your product correctly, because if you don't, not a lot of people are going to stick around. And that's just how it goes. So hopefully, with Candace Parker saying this, some players will take this as feedback and this league can move forward with better production on the court, better marketing, and this league can start moving in a positive direction.
Everybody can have reach to, the WNBA and make comments. But really the key is, let's keep it about basketball. That's
Exactly.
my thing. And when we do that, then we're able to really grow the game and what it represents. There are some talented players that have been in this league, but now, because of visibility, listen, I still know the Dominique Wilkins. I still know, all of those players, the Dr. J's and all that stuff. I don't think they're not salty that MJ came along and grew the game. I mean, that's what it is. And so I think that the WNBA as a whole is in an amazing place. Now it's about business to me. It's about taking care of business and making sure. I would like to see, and I'll say this in the CBA, I would like to see more roster spots, because we can't have 11 or 12 women on a team.
I love the fact that Candace Parker is involved with the CBA, and she's going to follow up on these comments by saying, hey, we need more players on a roster. She's taken action. I love that. And she's right about everything she's saying here. Let's keep it about the game. Let's be about our business. Let's make sure we take it serious, because the league has not made a profit. And if we're going to transition from relying on the NBA to cut our paychecks, let's make sure we're embracing Caitlin Clark. Let's make sure we're embracing people like Nafisa Collier. Let's make sure we're embracing Sabrina Ionescu and these great players. And then as it grows, as fans show up to these games, you will be in a much better spot. And at the next CBA, because I think this one, they're not going to get any type of leadway, because look at the numbers. It says it all. If you're not making money, then why should the owners listen to you? You don't have any type of leverage. You could probably add the roster spaces. That's a legit argument. But any type of more revenue. And then again, the players, if they start complaining about that, it's like the same narrative all over again. You can't do that. You got to make sure you look in the mirror, evaluate why you're in this position, and start to move off those poor choices in the way you're marketing it. And I guarantee you things will move in the right direction for the WNBA. But if it doesn't, don't expect any changes, because people don't want to watch the same talking points over and over again. Some fans are here for Caitlin Clark, and I've said it in my opinion, You should also be supporting the Indiana Fever, because if the Fever are a good basketball team and they make the playoffs, that's more eyes on Caitlin Clark and more growth for the WNBA, because the Indiana Fever makes a lot of money. They get a lot of fans. So to not show up to games doesn't help. It's all about just growing organically. It's not going to happen overnight. This is going to take some time. It's been, I think, over 20 years since they've been around, and they haven't made any money. You got to build one step at a time, one brick. And then when you have more leverage and there's growth going on, then you can bring these demands to the table. And then you can say, you know what? We should get some more revenue because of the results we're getting. Then people are going to listen to you because you're taking your product serious. But if you're constantly on Twitter complaining about the fans, how they respond to or giving their opinions, you're race baiting, gender wars, all that stuff, it's not going to work out well. And this league will suffer and will never be around, especially if the owners of the NBA get tired of dealing with them. Because if that happens, they are cooked. Like, you can just put the WNBA out of existence, because the owners might, if they lose patience, they're like, you know what? I don't want to support this nonsense. Let's just get them out of here. So be careful, because they are paying your paychecks. Hope you guys enjoyed this video today. I'd love to hear your thoughts about what Candace Parker had to say on First Take. Do you agree or disagree? Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to share the video, and I'll see you in the next one.